Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sharon Rogers, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. And this is my shy buddy, Crash. Doesn't like having his face on camera, but he loves being in the stamp room when I'm creating. Now, this is the fourth Tuesday of the month, so this is going to be a class based around product. And the specific product is the Be My Valentine stamp set. Bear with me, I know it's not Valentine's Day, and the Bee Builder Punch, as well as the Cutest Can Be Designer Series paper. Now, this Designer Series paper has been recolored from a paper that we had a year and a half ago or so, and it is just so springy and so fun. I love it even more than the original. I've got 3 cards for you tonight, and if you tune in to Lunchtime Look on Thursday, you're going to see a 4th card that uses some beautiful new dies from a die set that is found in the scrapbooking catalog. Now, this catalog I'll link to in the description of the video, but you can see that this is where the Designer Series paper comes from, and there is a new stamp set. Now, while I'm filming this, I don't have this stamp set yet. It's on the way, but I have to get ready to go on vacation, so I can't wait for it. So that's why I'm using the Be My Valentine. I'm just substituting some sentiments. But this stamp set is much less about Valentine's Day. It's called Meant to Be, and it does come with these fantastic dies if you get the bundle, which also saves you 10%. These hexagonal dies will create great honeycombs, great scrapbooking pages, and some great cards as well. So join me on Thursday for Lunchtime Look for a little sneak peek of that. Now let's get crafting. We will be bringing in the Be My Valentine stamp set. Now, there is another stamp set that is bee themed, and it does coordinate with this line of products. In fact, it's going to be the subject of my April Clubhouse. So this kind of launches it. We'll be using the same DSP for my April Clubhouse. And this, though, does work. And it works with the punch, and some of you may have picked up the punch when it was a free celebration item. Some of you may have it from before, because this has been around for over a year. Let's go ahead and create something with it. I'm bringing in a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock, and that's just a regular card base. And then I have a smaller layer, and you'll notice that it is not consistent in the border. This is a reimagined version of a card that Stampin' Up! Had demonstrators do at an onstage event a couple years ago. And so because they've recolored the paper, I thought I'd bring it back and do it in these new colors. So the design is exactly as they had it for us. It was really, really cute and pretty easy. So I thought, why not? I'm going to bring in the honeycomb stamp and my Daffodil Delight pad, and just going to add some honeycomb. And I'm not going to do it everywhere, so I'm not going to fill it up as tightly as you might want to. I'm just going to put some in here, kind of randomly, just stamp around the edges. And maybe there's a little one here, and then maybe there's more here. So we just have some peeking around in different places. And then I have 2 pieces of Designer Series paper that I'm going to use. And one of these is the flowered one, and so they're 2 very close together in size. One is 2 1/4 by 3 inches, and one is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. And the one that is slightly larger is the one that goes in the back. And then this one comes up in the front. And so we're just going to have something that looks like that. We'll go ahead and put those on there with our adhesive of choice. And of course, you know that my adhesive of choice is the Tombow glue. So let's just not quite center that. Then we're going to take this one and we're going to come just in here, just like that a little bit, I think. Something like that. So you can see the bottom one peeking out. There we go, something like that. Flowers and hearts. Right. Now we need a bee. And I'm going to bring in the Daffodil Delight. So rather than stamp the bee body, which I could do in Daffodil Delight, I'm going to stamp just the black outlines, the black lines of the bee onto this and then punch it out. So when I look at my punch, I always want to use it upside down so that I can see exactly where I'm punching. So I know that the tail is going to have to go near the bottom here and facing to the right, which is probably how I would have stamped it anyways, but maybe not because I'm holding it differently right now. All right, so let's go ahead right here, give it a little bit of room. And I'm not going to stamp the face right now, simply because I need to know where it all goes. And I don't need all this up top. I don't want to waste that cardstock. We'll just give it a little trim here. And this goes right in like this. And I can even it up a bit. Play with it till I think it's just about right, and then punch it. A little heart here, a little yellow heart if I want to keep that. And so here is my bumblebee, and I need to put a little face on this, but he also needs some other parts and pieces. He needs wings and he needs antenna. She needs wings and she needs antenna. Something like that. So I will put my wings there. And what did I just do with my antenna? Oh, there it is. They're little, so you got to keep your eyes on them. All right, same with the faces. Little. So when and these get punched out by the heart that's on here. So I want to stamp mine pretty close to the bottom of just a little scrap piece here. And again, if I look at how my heart goes something like this. I'm going to stamp it twice because I need wings on both sides of my bee. Now see what happens. If I put this one in first, I'm going to disrupt that one. So I'm going to cut out this one that's on the left first. And then I will do this one. I've got a couple wings. And then my antenna can be cut out with this other little heart. And so if I see how that goes, my antenna needs to fall to the, go down here to the bottom right. So let's see if we can just put this in here and manipulate it so it's just in there like that. Oop, slipped for a second. There we go. There's my antenna. So obviously though, this punch is a great punch to have on hand so you can make some hearts, big ones and small ones. All right, now if I go ahead and bring my card pieces back in here, we can assemble our bee. So we're going to make this a bee that's flying upward. I'm going to attach his wings like this. Oh, my bee does need a face too, doesn't he? And then we'll attach the little antenna like that. So we have a little flying bee, and we're going to put a sentiment right across the bottom here. Let's go ahead and attach our little pieces. And if you want to use a glue dot here because it's a little bit easier for you, then you certainly can do that. Just not much peeking out over there. Just a little bit, just like that. There's my little antennas. And we're going to put just a little bit of glue down here at the bottom of my hearts. And stick those behind my bee. And the glue allows me to wiggle it around just so I can get them to look kind of symmetrical. I think that looks pretty good right there. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. I probably should have put the face on. Let's do a smiley. Do we want just a regular smiley face, or do we want an extra smiley face? I like the extra smiley, I think. So extra smiley is with the slanty eyes. Well, that's this one right here. Come up in black as well. Here we go. Here's my little bee. So cute. And now we just need to assemble. Okay. Now I should have mentioned that if you didn't have the Daffodil Delight, you could, and it wouldn't be quite as bold on here, but you could use a Versamark to do a tone on tone and still get that honeycomb effect on there. Won't be quite as obvious, but let's add these with dimensionals. All right, let's get my large dimensionals out. Just put a few on here. Oop, I almost put them upside down. Good thing I noticed that the hearts were not going as I wanted them. There we go. And we will put our bee up on dimensionals as well. So let's make sure we got the wings on dimensionals and then the body as well. I'll probably put another one up here just to help hold down that little heart. Okay. So here we have my little bee. And I think maybe I wanna put him askew just a little bit. Her, him, I don't know. Now we need the sentiment, and I'm gonna bring in, and of course you can bring in a sentiment from absolutely anything else that you have. But I'm gonna go with "You're as sweet as honey." We'll make this a thank you card. So "You're as sweet as honey." Let's get a block out for that. And again, I will be doing this with Memento ink. Now I don't need a piece of basic white that is this wide. I think probably 1/2 inch will do. And if I look at how long this stamp is, it's about just over or just under 3.5 inches. Maybe I go 3.75, 3 3/4. And I'm going to make it, let's see, I'm probably off. Let's see, 1/2 inch wide. Oh good, I have two of them that are about 1/2 inch wide in case I can't get the first one right. But this is a photopolymer stamp, so it should stamp nicely centered because I can see where it's going. You're as sweet as honey. Perfect. Bring back our dimensionals. Those are the little ones. I want the big ones. Where are the big ones? Here are the big ones. We're gonna bring my card back in. There's one. There's two, and I think I will put one in the center just so it doesn't bow. There we go. And there we go. One last thing, if you have a Wink of Stella, which is kind of like a glittery medium that you can put on here, I would suggest putting that Wink of Stella right on those wings. Make them extra sparkly and fun. I'm not sure if this is going to get captured on camera or not. But there we have our sparkly wings. Just makes them look a little more wing-like, I think. Quick and easy card. Now this card is light enough inside so you don't need something in here. You could just stamp something, or you can put in an extra layer, which is what I will do. Okay, I have this extra layer that's going to go in here. And of course, we probably should stamp something in there. I'm just going to bring back this. You could stamp a bee in there if you wanted to, but I'm just going to put some of this at the bottom. Quick and simple. I mean, I could do it all the way around if I wanted to. We'll adhere this inside. And that's our first card. Just a quick little timeout here to explain for those of you who may not know how Tune In Tuesday works. It's a class that is free to watch, but if you would like the class kit that contains the consumables, the cardstock and the designer series paper, the ribbon and the gems that you need to recreate each of the cards I'm creating tonight, plus the card I'm going to be creating on Thursday's lunchtime look, then simply place an order of $35 or more in my online store. You can find the link to that in the description of this video. If your order is $60 or more, I'm going to include a package of embellishments. I'm not sure what those embellishments are right now because I am shooting this video several weeks in advance of its airing date because of my vacation schedule. So I don't want to promise you something and have them be out of stock, but I can tell you that it will coordinate with these projects. Now let's get back and create some more. For this next card, we are going to make the same bee that we made last time, except we will have this bee flying sideways. So I need the faces, and I think I'm going to hold off on, let me see if I can do, I'm not going to do the love you one. I'm just going to do a smiley face. I'm going to hold off on the antenna. I don't think I need the antenna. Let's just assemble my bee pieces here. So my wings and the body and the face that I want. We'll stamp the body onto some Daffodil Delight again. And remember how we need it to face. We need it to face this way. We need a little space. Need a little space so we can make the face. And we also don't need it quite this wide. Trim that down a little bit so we can stick it in here and not waste some paper. So there we go. There's our bee body. Now, if you get something that looks like this, so the punch is getting a little bit rough, I can trim this a little bit, but let me show you how you can sharpen your punch, because you don't want it to punch roughly. So you just need to sharpen this. You'll need to get some aluminum foil. Here I have some aluminum foil. We're just going to fold it over a few times. And then we're going to punch through it. So you don't want to fold it too many times because you do have to get it to insert into your punch. And then you're going to punch it. And you might have to play around and get some of the parts and pieces out. You also might want to really flatten it. And so I'm just going to keep on punching, paying specific attention to the areas that were giving you a hard time. So like this little edge of the bumblebee. And once you've been punching for a little bit, it might get a little tough to put in there just because you've got some extra pieces floating around here. And if you find that that's the case, and just stick something in there, maybe even a piece of paper to help clear it out. You don't want to let it go too long before cleaning out those pieces. Otherwise you might have a problem getting them out in the future. All right. I think there's another little piece in there, but I think we're going to be good. Let's just see if we can do, oh, there we go. There's that piece that didn't want to come out. See if I can take it out with scissors, which is tough because the second I press down on those, it wants to cut. All right, so let's go ahead and get those pieces out. There we go. There we go. Let's do one more. It's one more happy cut. I have to do it from this side because of the fold. All right, let's see if this has helped my punch any. I'm gonna and it is definitely better than it was. So you can see that that works. All right, let's clean up this mess. And some cardstocks are a little bit worse than others. I find the yellow to be particularly fuzzy at times, and it has to do with the dye lots, and you'll notice that different colors feel differently. And it really has to do with the formulation of ink. It's weird, but it's true. All right, so now we have this, and we need a piece of scrap white. happen to have this. And we're going to stamp our wings. And let's do something a little bit different. Let's bring in our pool party, because the card that I'm using actually uses some of that too. Here I have some pool party. And I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella again. And I'm going to squeeze my ink pad. And if you want, another thing that you can do instead of putting some Wink of Stella in here, I'm going to wipe it off, but I'm going to pick this up, but you could just stamp a block in there and color off the block. Let's see how I can color with this. I can use this like a water painter. Oops, got a little extra out there. I think I squeezed a little too much here. Oops, I said I was going to wipe this. I don't want to contaminate my pad with Wink of Stella. Just wipe that off there. I'm going to come in here and cut my wings. And I only need one set of wings this time. And I want him flying to the left. I mean to the right. So we'll put his wings on here. A little bit of glue like we did before. There we go. There's his wings. We do need to put a little face on him, so let's go ahead and do that. So cute. It's amazing what 2 dots on a little curve can do. All right, now let's bring in the rest of our stuff. So I'm starting with a card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, and we will be creating a Z fold. So I've scored it at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So when you fold it, you'll be able to fold one of them back. So you get a Z fold. See the Z? I'm going to bring in some pieces of Designer Series paper. I've got 3 pieces of Designer Series paper that measure 2 1/8 by 5 1/4, and 1 piece of basic white that measures the same. Then it's all about arranging how you want it arranged. And you have a couple different sides. Now I can't use this side because my flowers are going to be going sideways. But instead of those, I could use this, but I want the bees. I could use here, but I don't want to put those together because that's kind of a lot. And when I close this card, I'm going to see both of those. So I think I'm going to just use this side right here. And we'll use our stripes over here. All we do is adhere those down. There we go. Here's one. Here's 2. I should stamp on this first before adhering it, just in case I make a boo-boo. And we'll go right here with this one. All right. I will bring in another stamp set for that because I'm going to make this a birthday card. I have a heartfelt hexagon that I've, this is the punch, and I've punched a white and a petunia pop out with it. This, if you want the class card kit, I will include these punches for you. Not the punch, but the punch outs. And we're gonna put our little bee on here like this, but we need his little bee trail. So in the stamp set, there is a little bee trail. And that's kind of fun. Put that on here. Bring back in our black. And I don't need the whole thing because it's just a little bit that's going to show. I do want to protect my surface though. So let me go ahead and just protect my surface when I punch this. If I figure out where I want my bee, okay, there we go, just like that. Oop, there we go. Gonna put our bee on here just like that. We'll put him on with a dimensional or two. So the bee goes here. I want to make sure that the dimensional stays on this guy. So I can put another one right under here by his wing. Under his wing, where his wing kind of attaches to the body. There we go. So we have our little bee that does that. We're going to attach him, but I want to give a little bit more color to this border. But these are the same size, so it's not like I can mat them. But what I can do is bring in my paper trimmer or scissors, doesn't matter, because most of it will be hidden. I'm going to cut this in half, roughly in half. So it's 2 inches tip to tip. So if you just line them up to the 1 inch mark, there we go. And then we can adhere this to the top a little part. And I probably should have done this before I put my bee on. But let's see, we can do that. And we can do this. So we have just some sticking above and below. I'm gonna just do something like that. See if I can make my fingers work here. Just making it stick out above a little bit. And then I'll do the same thing on the bottom one. Let's see, I got that wrong right here. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Take me a second to orient myself. So there we have that. And now, you know what? I think if we just bring in, we could bring in the petunia pop. If you don't have petunia pop, you can use whatever color coordinating, whatever color coordinates. But let's bring in the Love You, because that's going to fit pretty nicely on here, I think. If I just wanted to check, no, it doesn't. So I'm not going to do that. I should have measured that before, shouldn't I? So I think instead what I'll do is I'll put a few hearts out here. I've got that little trio of hearts. And we'll just put those out there like that. And maybe a little bit more, a few more down here like that. Do whatever you want out there. So then I have this. I'm going to mount this with dimensionals, but only to half of it. So let's find our dimensionals. just do dimensionals on half. And I know where the half mark is because of those 2 points right there. I'm going to make sure this is pretty secure by adding 3 dimensionals. And there we have that. And now I can bring in, I wanted to bring in, I think, this labeled with love set. It's got some nice little sayings here. And let's go with happy birthday if we can find that, which we can. And happy birthday does fit on there nicely. So we will mount this. Happy birthday. A little off center. Let's try it again. Much better. And we will adhere that right to that other spot we've reserved for it. Just like that. And there we have our Z-fold card with sparkly little guys right there. I think we probably do need the antennas again. Let's bring back out our scrap and our antennae. Let's see here. And if I look at my punch, I have to make my heart go down to the right. So I make my antenna go down to the right. There we go. And we'll just put those up there just like that. Just need a little dab of glue. And I do like Tombow, not only because it gives me some wiggle power in placing it, but because it's very strong. So even though there's just a little bit of place where this is sticking, it's going to be enough. Oops, let's pull them out a little bit. There we go. And there is our Z-fold. This next part is a pretty easy one to put together. I have cut a piece of DSP, and this measures 3 inches by 4 inches. And I've cut another one that is 2 3/4 this way by 3 inches that way. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into 3 equal strips. So since it's 3 inches tall, I'm going to cut each at 1 inch, and I'm going to keep the order. So here's 1, 2, 3. This is my middle. Okay. And now on this piece of DSP, we're going to put this one here and then the middle one here. So your eye wants to connect that V and make him whole. And then this one goes up at the top. We're going to adhere those together. Let's bring our glue in. to make sure that the left bottom and right edges all have the same width to the border. And then this way, one the same way. Okay. I'll put this one on. If you get the card kit, the hearts in this next step will already be included. I will have already die cut them. I have 3 hearts, one in Petunia Pop, one in Bubble Bath, and one in white. And these come from the Hearts of Elegance dies, which are great dies. Just, I mean, you need hearts for Valentine's Day and anniversaries and weddings, and just love in general. So they are a great all-purpose set, I think. We're going to put this on the front. Now, I think this is the one that goes to the inside, but I'm thinking I might like, no, I don't think I want an extra border out here. No, I don't think so. I could, not a white one anyways, because it's too conflicting. Let me see what a black one would look like. I'll just pull in a little black piece here. That kind of makes it look a little bit like it pops a little bit more. See how we're gonna put these in here. See what they look like. You know, I definitely don't want yellow. So we have something that looks like that. All right, I think we're gonna just go with something plain and simple. If you decide you want a matte, you can, but there's really a lot going on with these bees and hearts. I do think what I might want to do is come in here with some sort of background just to put that on here. I don't think I'm going to put on, I'm not going to put on the, I can put on the trail. That would go pretty easily. You know what? Let's not. Let's go ahead and emboss, do some embossing here. Let's put some embossing on this piece. I'm going to emboss with this piece, but I don't typically like to emboss on the front of a card just because, or this front panel of a card, just because it makes it feel so different from the back. So we will bring in another piece of Petunia Pop. This is a change from what I had planned to do. So we'll cut this at 5 1/4 by 4. So just 1/4 inch smaller than the card front. And we will run this through the embossing machine. Now I like to have it somewhat straight in there. The lines are a little crooked by nature, so don't fuss too much over it. We'll bring this in. I need plate number 1. And this is Forever Plaid, and it is a 3D embossing folder, so we need the embossing folder and the cardstock in it, and a plate number 4. We're just going to run that through. And again, if you get the class kit, I will do that embossing for you, just in case you don't have this wonderful folder. All right, let's adhere this down. And then we are going to put this up on dimensionals. Let's see where they are. Now, normally I might put them in the center as well, but because I'm going to be using some more dimensionals, I'm not going to. So here we have this. That just breaks up that background so much more, much better. And let's put these hearts on. And I think I'm going to put those on with dimensionals too. And I'm not going to press them down just yet because I want to figure out how I'm going to put this heart on, because I want these guys to show. Maybe I put this one off a little bit and that. All right, let's stamp on this guy and see what we're dealing with. I'm going to bring in the Just For You from So Sincere. And let's stamp in our Petunia Pop. Just For You. And we're going to put this up on dimensionals as well. And I want the dimensionals to actually hit the other hearts so that it sticks up beyond those hearts. So let's just do this right here. And there we go. We have Just For You with some hearts. If you wanted to center, push that to the left a little bit, but I kind of like it with this guy sticking off a bit. And then of course we need our inside piece. And we're going to need to stamp something in there. Probably should stamp first. You know what we have not used from this set? We have not used some of the flowers. So let's bring in the Old Olive, and we might as well use the Petunia Pop here. So we'll take this flower and this flower. Or the stem and the flower. Let's see here. Whoop. I can't figure out which block I want to use. Here we go. We'll just ink up this little guy. And right here. And then you can decide, using some of the images that you have at home, what the occasion is. Could be a thank you card, could be a birthday card, could be a shower card. Lots of options. Probably not a sympathy card, a little too bright and cheery for that. There we go. Let's put on some rhinestones. Rhinestones makes everything better. So let's see, I'm trying to take the cover off, and the cover is already off it. So there we go. Just some sparkle in there. You know what? I think I like these guys a little bit closer. Uh-oh, stuck to my thumb. Let's try this one. I think I'd like them a little bit closer. Here we go. Much better. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed Tune In Tuesday's project. I think you're really going to love Lunchtime Looks project on Thursday. As a reminder, you have until Sunday, March 30th, to place an order, a qualifying order, so that you can get the class card kit for free. Remember, that's a $35 order before shipping and tax. And if your order hits the $60 mark, I will also include a package of embellishments, and all that does include shipping. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.